Have you ever wondered what ancient artifacts reveal about lost civilizations? Welcome to Unearthed Secrets, where we explore the world's most mysterious relics. Today we dive into 6 astonishing artifacts that have baffled historians. Before we start, please subscribe and like, and tell us where you're watching from and what time it is in the comments. The throne that faced the sky. Nestled on the sun-warmed plains of Malta, where the limestone stretches endlessly beneath a sky that seems too vast for any single island, lies a remnant of a world that predates memory itself. Among the labyrinthine stones and worn corridors of the Tarxian temples, there rests a throne, carved with deliberate hands from the same resilient rock that forms the very foundation of the island. Its surface is smooth, yet worn in places by centuries of touch, a silent witness to generations that have come and gone, leaving only whispers behind. The throne that faced the sky, as one might imagine it, is more than a piece of stone. It is a conduit, a bridge between earth and imagination, between human labor and cosmic contemplation. Approaching the site, one feels a subtle shift in the air, a hushed vibration that seems almost imperceptible, like a heartbeat echoing through the limestone walls. The path winds gently, lined with low, weathered stones that mark spaces where rituals may have taken place, where voices once carried prayers or songs into the open sky. Here, light plays in unusual ways. Morning sunlight drifts over carved reliefs depicting spirals, animals, and abstract forms, and as it grazes the throne, it casts fleeting patterns that resemble living things, creatures that move for only a second before dissolving into shadow. The interplay of light and stone seems intentional, as though the builders understood that sunlight could become a participant in their sacred architecture. The throne itself sits slightly elevated, accessible by a few shallow steps that have been worn smooth over countless centuries. Each step is a reminder of human persistence, of hands that shaped rock and feet that pressed gently against the earth to reach a place set apart from the ordinary world. It is roughly hewn, yet the proportions are precise, almost mathematical in their elegance. There is a sense that whoever sat upon it, whether priest, elder, or perhaps a figure of authority whose name has been lost, was meant to be observed not only by the community but by the heavens above. The backrest curves gently, accommodating the body in a manner that suggests comfort, tempered with dignity. Around its edges, faint carvings trace geometric patterns, circles within circles, spirals that spiral into themselves, a visual rhythm that speaks of cycles, of time, and perhaps of the eternal. One can imagine the throne as a centerpiece for rituals that are now invisible to us, as though the stone remembers what the living have forgotten. In the stillness of the temple you might hear the echo of chants, the rhythmic tapping of stone implements against stone altars, or the soft footfalls of participants moving in ceremonial procession. Perhaps incense drifted through the air, carrying the scent of herbs and resins unfamiliar to modern noses. Perhaps voices rose in unison, invoking protection, fertility, or the unseen forces that governed life on this small yet sacred island. The throne was not merely a seat, it was a focal point, a vessel for human intent, a place where the earthly and the spiritual converged. To sit upon it today is to confront the weight of time. Your hands trace the grooves that have been smoothed by centuries of contact, and you feel a subtle warmth in the stone, a quiet acknowledgement of the living who came before. You notice faint traces of red ochre, almost invisible to the eye, suggesting that the throne may once have been more than stone. It may have been a canvas, a surface imbued with color to enhance its presence, to signify its sacred purpose. And yet, even stripped of pigment, the throne commands attention. Its geometry, its deliberate placement within the larger temple complex, speaks of knowledge, of understanding, of a human mind seeking harmony with the world around it. Around the throne, the Tarxian temples unfold in a series of chambers and courtyards, each carved with precision from the local limestone. Sculpted bulls stand in quiet vigilance, their eyes gazing outward, forever observing the horizon, while spirals, zigzags, and floral motifs swirl across walls and altars. There is a rhythm to the arrangement, a choreography of stone that suggests intentionality, a plan that might have aligned with celestial bodies, with the movement of the sun and moon, with seasonal cycles that governed agriculture, life, and ritual. The throne, placed in the midst of this choreography, becomes more than furniture. It is the center of a living, breathing cosmic map, one that humans of the distant past could read intuitively, guided by observation and devotion, rather than written instruction. As the day stretches toward evening, the sun's light softens, and shadows deepen, revealing textures in the limestone that are invisible in harsher light. The throne, bathed in a golden glow, seems to absorb the sky itself. One might imagine a ceremony here, the chosen individual seated upon it, arms resting lightly on its sides, head tilted upward to catch the last rays of sunlight. Around them participants hold candles or torches, their flames flickering against the carved walls, casting moving shadows that animate the reliefs. The air is thick with anticipation and reverence, a tangible recognition that something sacred is unfolding, something that belongs to neither the past nor the present, but exists in the intersection of human awareness and the natural world. There is an intimacy to the throne's design. Unlike grand thrones of later civilizations, crowned with gold and encrusted with jewels, this seat is humble in material, yet monumental in purpose. Its simplicity invites reflection. Its permanence reminds us of the endurance of human effort and devotion. There is no attempt to impress through ostentation. Instead, the builders communicated through proportion, placement, and touch. In a way, the throne becomes a mirror for anyone who sits upon it, reflecting not status or wealth but engagement with time, space, and community. Walking around the temple complex, one notices that every stone seems to echo the throne's presence. Smaller seating areas, altars, and carved benches echo its contours, creating a visual and spatial dialogue. Even the narrow passageways between chambers seem to guide movement toward or around it, emphasizing its centrality. The experience of the Tarxian temples is immersive, each element complementing the others, yet the throne remains a silent conductor of attention, a locus for the imagination and the spirit. Historians and archaeologists have speculated endlessly about its purpose. Some suggest it was the seat of a priest, conducting rituals that connected the people to the natural cycles of the island. Others propose it may have been a throne for a symbolic leader, a figurehead whose authority was as much spiritual as it was social. Yet others argue that the throne could have been a ceremonial prop, an object around which storytelling, teaching, and community gathering occurred. Each theory carries weight, yet none can fully capture the presence one feels when standing before it. The throne's power lies not in the certainty of its function, but in its ability to evoke curiosity, reverence, and reflection. The surroundings of the temple enhance this effect. The open air allows wind to whisper through carved reliefs, rustling the grasses that cling to the edges of the limestone platform. Birds, both common and rare, traverse the sky, their cries blending with the ambient sounds of the island. There is a sense that the throne has absorbed these elements over millennia. The sun, wind, rain, and sea spray, and in turn, the throne communicates their quiet persistence. It is not merely a stone object, it is a participant in the living environment, a reminder that human creation and natural forces coexist, shaping one another across the centuries. To explore the details of the throne is to embark on a subtle meditation. One notices the curvature of the armrests, perhaps designed to mimic the natural shape of the human body. One observes the small indentations in the seat, subtle yet deliberate, possibly to aid in stability or comfort, or perhaps symbolic markers of ritual significance. Every groove, every line, every faint stain carries a story, a hint of activity long past. The imagination begins to fill the voids left by history, constructing ceremonies, prayers, and lives around a piece of stone that otherwise remains silent. As evening deepens into night, the temple takes on an otherworldly quality. The throne, under the dimming sky, becomes a silhouette against the faint glow of stars. In clear weather, constellations stretch overhead, in familiar yet distant patterns, their light traveling across space and time to touch the stones beneath. One can almost imagine a ritual designed to mirror these celestial bodies, a human attempt to understand the vastness above while remaining grounded on the limestone below. In this way, the throne becomes more than a seat. It is a point of contact between humanity and the cosmos, a reminder that even in small spaces, the universe can be contemplated. Walking away from the throne, leaving behind the echo of imagined ceremonies and the faint warmth of stone, one carries with them a sense of connection. The Tarxian temples, with all their carvings, altars, and chambers, are remarkable, but it is the throne that anchors the experience, offering a tangible link to human thought, ritual, and artistry from thousands of years ago. Its presence is enduring, a testament to intention, skill, and reverence, and it invites anyone who encounters it to pause, reflect, and wonder. And yet, for all its silent majesty, the throne keeps its mysteries. We will never know the names of those who carved it, the prayers whispered into its presence, the full scope of its ceremonial use. What we do know is that it persists, facing the sky as it has for millennia, bridging past and present, earth and heavens, stone and imagination. To sit upon it, even today, is to touch a lineage of human curiosity and devotion, to feel the subtle heartbeat of an ancient civilization, and to encounter a fragment of eternity carved from limestone. The throne that faced the sky remains, unyielding yet inviting, a stone witness to centuries of wind, sun, and human reverence. It is more than a throne, it is a symbol of the enduring human desire to connect, to understand, and to leave a mark upon the world that in turn marks us. Its stillness speaks louder than words, and its presence is a quiet testament to the power of craft, ritual, and imagination. The coin that bought nothing. In the bustling markets of ancient China, under the expansive skies of the Han Dynasty, there existed a small, unassuming object whose influence far exceeded its size. A bronze token, round and worn, yet carefully struck with characters and symbols, drifted through the hands of merchants, travelers, and city dwellers. It is known to history as the coin that bought nothing, though its purpose at first glance seems paradoxical. Unlike the coins that purchase silk, grain, or pottery, this token was not intended to exchange for goods in the traditional sense. Instead, it circulated through a web of social, political, and economic interactions, carrying meaning far richer than its modest metal might suggest. Holding one of these tokens today, you feel the weight of its journey, a subtle warmth from countless fingers that have clasped it over 2 millennia. The surface is smoothed by time, but if you look closely, you can discern the faint inscriptions, careful, deliberate strokes of Han craftsmanship. These characters, though small, are potent, conveying authority, purpose, and sometimes ambiguity. Some tokens bear markings that suggest tax exemption, others hint at social privileges or ceremonial access, and a few carry symbols whose meaning has been lost to the slow erasure of time. Every mark, every worn edge, whispers the stories of those who trusted in its value, even if it could not buy material goods in a traditional sense. Imagine a street in Chang'an, the imperial capital, alive with the scent of roasted grains, the chatter of merchants, and the steady rhythm of carts on cobbled stone. A merchant, carrying a bag of silk threads, approaches a small stall where a craftsman is selling delicate bronze mirrors. The merchant presents the token with a flourish, and the craftsman pauses, understanding instantly its implication. Though no silver or grain changes hands, the transaction has meaning. Perhaps it signals membership in a guild, a right to trade certain goods without taxation, or an acknowledgement of a favor owed. The token is more than bronze, it is trust, it is reputation, it is social currency, quietly affirming bonds that money alone cannot establish. The design of the token reflects this purpose. Its circular shape, common in Han currency, symbolizes continuity and completeness, while the inscriptions convey precise information, often cryptic to the uninitiated, but clear to those within the network of its circulation. Some tokens depict abstract symbols resembling clouds or waves, perhaps intended to invoke the favor of heaven or the flow of prosperity. Others are marked with stylized characters that indicate the issuing authority, whether local magistrates, guilds, or trade networks sanctioned by the court. Even the size and weight were deliberate, allowing the token to be carried discreetly, easily passed from hand to hand without the clatter of coins, silently negotiating access and acknowledgement across distances and social hierarchies. The origins of such tokens are deeply entwined with the Han Dynasty's complex economy. The empire was vast, stretching from the Yellow River in the north to the subtropical forests in the south. Standardized bronze coins circulated widely, yet the sheer scale of the empire, combined with regional variations in trade practices, necessitated auxiliary systems of value. The coin that bought nothing was one such innovation. By separating symbolic authority from tangible wealth, it allowed for the smooth functioning of local economies, guild interactions, and ceremonial exchanges, acting almost like an invisible thread weaving together disparate communities. In this way, the token embodies the ingenuity of a civilization that understood that commerce and social trust are inseparable. One can imagine the subtle ceremonies surrounding its use. Perhaps a guild leader, seated beneath a tiled pavilion, presents a small pile of tokens to a new member, acknowledging their entry into a network that guarantees certain protections and privileges. Or a local magistrate might hand a token to a traveling merchant, ensuring safe passage through city gates or exemption from minor tolls. In each case, the value of the token is not intrinsic, but relational, dependent on the shared understanding of a community that has agreed upon its meaning. The coin that bought nothing, therefore, becomes a mirror of society itself, reflecting trust, hierarchy, and subtle social contracts that survive beyond the material world. Walking along the ancient streets today, it is easy to overlook such objects for they are small and unassuming. Yet the impact of the token resonates across centuries. Archaeologists uncover them in layers of soil, beside market stalls, in forgotten corners of city walls, and even buried in personal hoards alongside silver and copper coins. Each discovery tells a story of someone's ingenuity, of the networks that span distances without the need for modern communication, and of a society that understood the abstract power of symbols. The tokens, though silent, speak of relationships, of authority exercised without force, and of the invisible currents that shape human interaction. The tactile sensation of holding the token connects the past to the present in ways that words cannot fully capture. Its bronze surface has been warmed by countless hands, polished by friction, yet retains a faint roughness, a reminder of its origins in a skilled foundry, where molten metal was poured into carefully carved molds, struck, and cooled to precise dimensions. The craftsmanship itself is remarkable, a testament to Han artisans who balanced utility, durability, and symbolism in a single small object. The token is at once practical and poetic, functional yet profound, carrying stories that transcend the ordinary limitations of commerce. Consider the interplay between the token and the natural world. Bronze, an alloy of copper and tin, weathers over time in a manner that mirrors the slow transformation of society itself. Oxidation leaves faint green patinas, sometimes obscuring inscriptions, sometimes highlighting them in unexpected ways. Soil, moisture, and temperature shifts across centuries have shaped each token uniquely, imparting a subtle individuality to each otherwise standardized piece. Holding it, one is aware not only of human hands but of geological and environmental forces, a convergence of natural and cultural histories that reinforces the object's enduring significance. The coin that bought nothing also embodies human imagination. It invites speculation about rituals, ceremonies, and daily life. Did merchants tuck them into pouches alongside regular coins, discreetly exchanging them when the moment demanded? Were they displayed during negotiations as proof of status or affiliation? Could a single token, passed along various hands, connect distant regions, creating invisible networks of influence and trust that mirrored the empire's vast geography? The questions themselves are part of the token's magic, encouraging reflection on the subtleties of social interaction, the sophistication of early economies, and the human capacity to assign meaning beyond tangible wealth. In some ways, the token resembles a key, unlocking privileges and access without ever being spent in the conventional sense. A traveler might present it at a marketplace, and the shopkeeper, recognizing its authority, allows entry to restricted areas, offers special treatment, or honors a prior agreement. Unlike coins, which are consumed in exchange for goods, the token circulates, returning, moving, and gaining value through repetition, trust, and recognition. It is a living instrument, a tangible embodiment of human networks and the abstract principles that govern them. Archaeological records indicate that the tokens were often buried alongside more conventional currency, perhaps as part of ceremonial deposits or hoarding practices meant to preserve wealth or honor the dead. Imagine a family placing these small bronze discs into a ceramic jar, covering it with soil, and marking it only with memory or intuition. Centuries later, archaeologists unearth the jar, dust it off, and hold in their hands a fragment of daily life that was at once mundane and extraordinary. In the quiet moments of excavation, the coin that bought nothing whispers across time, a reminder of human ingenuity, trust, and imagination. The artistry of the token itself is subtle. Its inscriptions and markings, while not ornate, communicate efficiently, balancing clarity with symbolic resonance. Some feature simple characters denoting authority or function, while others incorporate motifs that hint at fortune, protection, or spiritual favor. Each element is deliberate, designed to convey meaning to those who understand the codes, while remaining mysterious to outsiders. This duality, accessible yet enigmatic, adds to the allure, ensuring that the coin is not merely a tool but a conversation across time, culture, and knowledge. Even in modern times, the concept resonates. Consider the parallels with digital tokens, membership cards, or vouchers that grant access without conveying intrinsic value. The Han token was an early manifestation of the idea that value is socially constructed, a recognition that human trust, belief, and shared understanding can confer power greater than metal alone. To hold such a token is to engage with the earliest iterations of this principle, to witness the ingenuity of a civilization that understood the nuances of human behavior and the abstract principles that govern interaction. As dusk settles over ancient excavation sites, the bronze surfaces of the tokens catch the fading light, casting gentle reflections that shimmer across sand and stone. Their presence is unassuming, yet profound, a quiet testament to human imagination and societal sophistication. One can almost hear the whispers of merchants, magistrates, and travelers, their lives briefly intersecting through the exchange of small, seemingly insignificant objects that were, in truth, vital threads in the tapestry of community and commerce. The coin that bought nothing endures not only as an artifact, but as a concept, a symbol of the intangible networks that underpin society. It teaches lessons about trust, cooperation, and creativity, revealing how human beings have always found ways to navigate complexity with subtlety and intelligence. In its simplicity, it holds depth. In its silence, it speaks volumes, and in its circulation, it carries forward the echo of countless human stories. Holding it, studying it, imagining its journey through crowded markets, quiet ceremonies, and distant travels, one begins to appreciate the sophistication of an empire that flourished over 2,000 years ago. The token is more than bronze. It is a bridge between individuals, communities, and centuries. It is an invitation to explore human ingenuity, social bonds, and the delicate architecture of trust that underlies all interaction. The coin that bought nothing remains a quiet marvel of the Han dynasty, a small object that carries extraordinary significance. Its enduring presence reminds us that the value of things is often less about what they can purchase and more about what they connect. It is a testament to human creativity, foresight, and the subtle, often invisible threads that weave together the fabric of civilization. The statue that wept sand. Helene, in the vast, sun-scorched landscapes of northwestern Arabia, where sandstone cliffs rise like the walls of an ancient citadel, and wind-carved canyons stretch endlessly under the indifferent sky, there lies a region whose secrets have endured millennia. Al-Ula, a cradle of human history and imagination, is a place where echoes of civilizations long past linger in the silence between rocks and in the shadows of ancient valleys. Among its most enigmatic relics is a small, yet profoundly compelling object, a limestone idol, carved with care, weathered by centuries, and imbued with mysteries that defy simple explanation. Holding such an idol is to feel the weight not just of stone, but of time itself. Its surface is smooth in places, rough in others, marked by the patient hand of a carver whose purpose is lost to history. The figure may be humanoid, stylized, abstract, or somewhere between, with features suggested rather than rendered fully. Broad shoulders, a faintly indicated face, perhaps a slight bend at the knees, or a tilt of the head. Its scale is modest, small enough to hold in one's palm, yet commanding in presence, as though it embodies more than its physical dimensions could ever convey. To imagine the idol in its original context is to step into a world where the spiritual and the everyday were inseparable. Perhaps it stood in a modest dwelling, on a ledge overlooking the encampment, or in the central square of a small settlement, where the community might gather, leaving offerings or whispers in its presence. The people of Al-Ula, skilled in carving stone, were meticulous in their work, selecting limestone that was durable yet malleable, and shaping it with tools that left subtle, deliberate traces. Each stroke of the chisel was an act of intention, and each curve, indentation, and imperfection speaks to the human hand and mind behind its creation. Imagine the quiet rhythm of life in the valleys surrounding Al-Ula. Dawn breaks over jagged sandstone cliffs, casting long shadows over terraces of cultivated land. Camels move slowly through the sand, their hooves imprinting the earth alongside the footprints of traders and shepherds. Children might play near the idol, unaware of its full significance, while elders recount stories of ancestors, spirits, and gods, perhaps pointing to the figure as a silent witness to their words. The limestone idol is both ordinary and extraordinary, an intersection of daily life and transcendent thought, an object that mediates between the mortal and the divine. The symbolism of the idol, though partially obscured by time, is palpable. In its proportions, posture, and abstraction, it speaks of beliefs, practices, and social structures that have vanished. Perhaps it represented a protective spirit, ensuring the safety of the household or settlement, or a deity whose favor was sought in times of drought, trade, or conflict. Some scholars speculate that such figures were used in rituals of fertility, harvest, or initiation, though the evidence is fragmentary and open to interpretation. Whatever the original intent, the idol remains a conduit to human imagination, a vessel through which the concerns, hopes, and fears of an ancient people continue to resonate. Holding the idol in your hand today, one is struck by the intimacy of its scale and the universality of its presence. Unlike monumental statues that dominate landscapes, this figure invites close attention, contemplation, and touch. Fingers trace the gentle contours, noting the subtle depressions where a chisel once dug into limestone, or the tiny pits left by centuries of exposure to wind and sand. Each imperfection, each curve, each weathered edge is a story in itself, a record of human intention and natural transformation, an unbroken chain from creation to present day. The environment of Al-Ula itself adds layers of meaning to the idol. The desert is vast and relentless, with temperatures that swing from scalding days to bitter nights. Winds sweep through narrow canyons, carrying fine dust that slowly erodes stone surfaces. Rain is rare but powerful, carving channels through the sandstone and leaving traces of sediment that will slowly bury artifacts over time. In such a setting, the limestone idol endures, resilient against the elements, yet subtly transformed by them. Its survival is a testament to both human craftsmanship and the patience of nature, a quiet dialogue between stone, wind, and time. Imagine the ritualistic moments in which the idol may have played a part. Perhaps a small community gathered around it at dawn, offering grains or water in silent reverence, whispering prayers or invocations, or marking seasonal transitions with symbolic gestures. The idol would have served as a focal point, a silent participant in the unfolding of daily life and seasonal cycles. Its presence would have reinforced social cohesion, reminding each member of the community of shared beliefs, values, and traditions. Even without spoken words, the idol communicated meaning, shaping human behavior and experience in ways subtle yet profound. The process of carving the idol was itself an act of devotion and skill. Limestone is relatively soft compared to granite or basalt, yet it requires patience, precision, and an understanding of the stone's natural tendencies. The carver would have selected a block with care, considering texture, color, and potential flaws. Using stone or metal tools, they would have chipped away at the surface, gradually revealing form from raw material. Each strike left traces of thought, intention, and artistry, a dialogue between human hand and natural medium. The result is an object that embodies both creativity and contemplation, a synthesis of material, technique, and meaning. Trade and cultural exchange in ancient Arabia may also have influenced the creation and use of such idols. Al-Ula was situated along important routes that connected the Arabian interior with the Mediterranean, Mesopotamia, and the wider Near East. Merchants, travelers, and pilgrims would have passed through these valleys, bringing ideas, objects, and stories from distant lands. The idol, though local in material and style, may have reflected broader influences, blending indigenous traditions with motifs, symbolism, or practices observed from afar. In this way, the limestone figure becomes a nexus of cultural interaction, a silent witness to the movement of people and ideas across harsh yet hospitable landscapes. Over centuries, the idol may have changed roles, shifting from ritual object to household ornament, from protective talisman to heirloom passed down through generations. It might have been hidden during periods of conflict, carried in journeys across dunes and valleys, or carefully placed in tombs or ceremonial caches. The marks of use, transport, and exposure accumulate, forming a tangible history that complements its symbolic significance. Each scratch, abrasion, or discoloration is a trace of human engagement, a record of continuity, adaptation, and reverence that bridges generations. Archaeologists uncovering these figures today approach them with a mixture of curiosity and humility. The idol is carefully extracted from layers of sediment, examined for inscriptions, tool marks, and traces of pigments or wear. Comparisons with other regional artifacts provide insight into chronology, function, and cultural context. Yet many questions remain unanswered. The absence of written records or explicit documentation leaves much to interpretation, inviting scholars and enthusiasts alike to imagine the lives of those who carved, used, and revered these objects. Each discovery is a reminder of the depth of human history and the persistence of meaning across time. The sensory experience of encountering the idol is profound. Visual perception is immediately engaged by its form, texture, and subtle asymmetry. Touch reveals the cool, firm surface of limestone, the slight undulations of carved features, and the traces of weathering. Even sound enters subtly, as the hollow space under its base resonates faintly when tapped, hinting at the material's density and the physical environment in which it once resided. The imagination completes the experience, reconstructing rituals, daily life, and ceremonial moments that the stone silently witnessed. The idol also speaks to broader philosophical and spiritual questions. What did it mean to create a figure in stone? How did the makers and users conceive of power, protection, and the divine? In the absence of written explanation, the object encourages reflection on human intention, perception, and belief. Its abstraction allows for multiple interpretations, a flexibility that may have been intentional, permitting each observer to project meaning, seek guidance, or offer devotion according to individual and communal needs. The limestone idol is, therefore, not merely a relic, it is a mirror of human consciousness, a tangible artifact through which we glimpse the universality of curiosity, reverence, and imagination. Time, as it flows, has both preserved and transformed the idol. Wind, sand, and occasional rain have softened edges, leaving subtle textures that enhance its tactile and visual appeal. Sunlight has bleached surfaces unevenly, creating contrasts that highlight its form. The chemical composition of limestone interacts with the environment, producing variations in color, sheen, and patina. All these changes do not diminish the idol's significance. Instead, they enrich it, providing a living testament to resilience, adaptation, and the passage of centuries. In contemplating the idol, one also contemplates the people of Al-Ula themselves, their ingenuity, artistry, and understanding of the world around them. They inhabited a challenging landscape, yet created objects of profound meaning, blending practicality with spirituality, observation with imagination. The limestone figure is evidence of a sophisticated culture that valued subtlety, symbolism, and human connection, even in an environment that demanded resilience and resourcefulness. Each curve, indentation, and worn surface is a testament to the capacity for creativity and reflection in the face of adversity. The limestone idol continues to inspire in modern times, serving as a bridge between the present and the distant past. Museums, archaeological sites, and scholarly works provide access to its story, yet the full essence of the object remains best experienced in quiet contemplation. Holding it, imagining its original environment, and tracing the movements of countless hands across centuries evokes a sense of connection and continuity that transcends geography and culture. The idol becomes a meditation on time, human creativity, and the enduring power of symbolic representation. Even now, as the sun sets over the cliffs of Al-Ula, casting long shadows across canyons and valleys, one can almost hear whispers of the past. Perhaps a community gathered around a central shrine, leaving grains, water, or small offerings near a limestone figure, seeking protection, favor, or insight. Perhaps travelers rested nearby, glimpsing the carved form and imagining the stories it carried. The idol stood, silent yet perceptive, witnessing the cycles of life, the passage of seasons, and the slow, inexorable changes wrought by wind and sand. In this way, the limestone idol is more than an artifact. It is a vessel of memory, a repository of human intention, and a symbol of enduring creativity. It reminds us that even in remote, harsh landscapes, human beings have always sought to understand, shape, and honor the world around them. Its small, unassuming form belies a depth that transcends materiality, offering insight into belief, social cohesion, artistry, and imagination across millennia. The stone itself, though ancient, feels immediate. Its weight in the hand, its texture under fingertips, its subtle asymmetry, all evoke a sense of intimacy with those who created it. And yet the idol also maintains an air of mystery, a silent challenge to the observer to imagine the countless untold stories it has witnessed, the rituals, daily routines, and fleeting moments that have passed in its presence. It is a reminder that even objects that say nothing can speak volumes, provided one listens closely and contemplates deeply. The limestone idol of Al-Ula endures not simply as a product of ancient craftsmanship, but as a living narrative of human experience. Each surface, each contour, each weathered mark is a word, each gesture of the carver a sentence, and together they form an ongoing story that connects past and present. It is a meditation on the interplay between human ingenuity, environmental forces, and the persistence of meaning across time. In holding it, observing it, and imagining the world in which it existed, we participate in a dialogue that spans millennia, a quiet conversation between the present and the long shadows of history. The tomb that outlived its king. In the heart of the Sudanese desert, where the sun casts long, shimmering waves of heat over sand and stone, there rises a collection of pyramids, whose presence seems both monumental and intimate. These pyramids of Meroe, once the resting places of kings and queens, have endured centuries of shifting sands, storms, and human passage, each structure a silent guardian of the past. Among them stands a tomb, distinguished not merely by its stone or scale, but by the stories it holds. A tomb that outlived its king, preserving the memory of a reign long past, yet whispering secrets to those willing to listen. The pyramid itself is modest, compared to the colossal structures of Giza, yet it possesses a quiet dignity that commands attention. Its steep, angular form rises directly from the desert floor, limestone blocks stacked with careful precision, creating sharp geometric lines softened only by centuries of wind and sand. From a distance it seems almost to glow in the golden light of dawn, a solitary beacon in a vast, empty landscape, hinting at the complexity and sophistication of a civilization whose achievements are often overlooked. Approaching the tomb, one notices the craftsmanship in the stonework. Each block, cut with care and set with meticulous attention to alignment, carries the mark of skilled hands that worked under the guidance of architects, masons, and artisans. The pyramid is not merely a structure, it is a statement of permanence, an assertion that the king within, though mortal, could aspire to a form of eternity through stone. Yet, as with all things, time leaves its imprint, edges worn smooth by wind and sand, inscriptions partially eroded, and the occasional crack or displacement hinting at the relentless passage of centuries. Inside, the tomb is a study in shadows and silence. The air is cool and still, thick with the weight of history. Narrow passageways lead deeper into the structure, descending into chambers where light barely penetrates, illuminating walls carved with reliefs that depict the life, reign, and beliefs of the king entombed within. These images, though faded, still convey motion and narrative, processions of servants and soldiers, offerings presented to deities, and scenes of ritual significance that connect the mortal with the divine. The king's presence is suggested rather than proclaimed, his identity encoded in symbols, posture, and the careful placement of grave goods that surround him. The tomb's design reflects the Meroitic understanding of the afterlife and kingship. It was built not only to house the physical remains of a ruler, but to provide a pathway to eternity, a structure that facilitated the journey of the soul through sacred spaces. Each chamber, each corridor, is aligned with symbolic and astronomical considerations, intended to ensure the king's successful passage and continued influence over the living. The pyramid's orientation, the positioning of doorways, and the inclusion of ritual objects all speak to a worldview in which the material and spiritual realms are intricately intertwined and where architecture itself becomes a medium of belief. Among the artifacts within the tomb are items that bridge the mundane and the sacred, pottery, jewelry, ceremonial objects and weapons, each carefully placed, reveal aspects of royal life, status, and ritual practice. They speak to the king's personal identity and the broader culture of Meroe, the sophistication of metalwork, the artistry of textile production, and the symbolic language embedded in objects that transcended their practical function. Even in decay, these items evoke a sense of presence, connecting modern observers to a human story, long silent, yet vividly imagined through the careful study of form, function, and placement. The exterior of the tomb tells its own story as well. Carved reliefs on the pyramid's walls depict the king in eternal repose, sometimes accompanied by attendants, deities, or symbolic animals. The inscriptions, though eroded, still convey the reverence afforded to a ruler whose authority extended both in life and death. As wind and sand continue their patient work, the pyramid itself becomes a palimpsest, layers of history overlaid with natural transformation, reminding us that even the most enduring structures are subject to time's inexorable flow. Imagining life in Meroe during the king's reign brings the tomb into vivid relief. The city, vibrant and bustling, lay at the intersection of trade routes that connected sub-Saharan Africa with Egypt and the Mediterranean. Markets would have been alive with the scent of spices, the colors of textiles, and the voices of merchants negotiating over gold, ivory, and precious stones. Temples echoed with chants and offerings, and the river Nile's seasonal rise dictated agricultural cycles that supported the kingdom's population. In this context, the king's pyramid was both a spiritual center and a testament to political authority, a tangible anchor for the collective memory of a society conscious of its power, tradition, and vulnerability to the elements and human ambition. The process of constructing the tomb was itself a monumental endeavor. Skilled laborers, guided by architects, quarried limestone and transported massive blocks over harsh terrain, using ingenuity and endurance to achieve precise alignment. The design incorporated not only stability but also symbolic intent. Corridors representing journeys, chambers reflecting cosmological beliefs, and decorative elements intended to honor the king and the gods alike. In creating such a structure, the builders were not merely constructing a tomb, they were shaping a narrative that would endure long after individual lifetimes, asserting the permanence of human intention against the impermanence of existence. Over centuries, the tomb has witnessed countless changes. Desert storms sweep across its surface, eroding stone and shifting sand, altering its appearance, yet preserving its essence. In antiquity, tomb raiders may have sought the treasures within, leaving traces of intrusion and disturbance. Archaeologists today, with careful excavation and study, uncover these traces, piecing together stories from fragments of pottery, inscriptions, and skeletal remains. Each discovery illuminates aspects of Meroitic culture, social hierarchy, religious practice, trade networks, and the integration of local and foreign influences that shape the kingdom's evolution. The tomb's enduring presence also speaks to the resilience of memory and ritual. Even as dynasties fell and landscapes shifted, the pyramid continued to mark the land, a silent testament to a king whose life ended long ago, but whose influence was intended to persist. Its survival is a dialogue between human ambition and natural forces, a testament to the foresight of its creators and the enduring fascination of those who encounter it centuries later. The tomb outlived its king, not simply as stone, but as a narrative vessel, carrying stories, beliefs, and aspirations across the ages. Walking among the pyramids of Meroe today, one can feel the weight of history in every grain of sand, every shadow cast by the steep angles of stone. The tomb that outlived its king stands as both a monument and a mystery, inviting contemplation of mortality, legacy, and the interplay between human aspiration and natural forces. Its geometry, materials, and surviving inscriptions form a language that speaks across time, a quiet but insistent call to remember, to study, and to imagine the lives entwined with its construction, use, and enduring presence. The sensory experience of the tomb is profound. The dry desert air carries the faint scent of earth and stone, while the warmth of sunlight contrasts with the cool shadows of the interior chambers. The tactile experience of touching the worn limestone, tracing the reliefs, and feeling the subtle imperfections left by human hands evokes a direct connection with the past. Sounds echo subtly through corridors, reinforcing the sense of isolation, continuity, and reflection that pervades the space. In such moments, the visitor becomes part of a continuum, bridging centuries through quiet attention and mindful observation. In contemplating the tomb, one cannot ignore the philosophical and spiritual dimensions it embodies. The king's pyramid represents a human desire for permanence, a recognition of mortality, and a hope for enduring influence beyond the temporal. It reflects beliefs in the afterlife, divine favor, and the social importance of commemoration. The structure itself, through geometry, placement, and ornamentation, mediates between the earthly and the eternal, asserting human intention within the inexorable flow of natural forces. In this sense, the tomb is both practical and poetic, functional yet profoundly symbolic. The tomb's endurance through millennia also allows for reflection on the broader arc of human civilization. The Meroitic kingdom, though often overshadowed by Egypt to the north, was a vibrant and influential culture, leaving a legacy of art, architecture, and trade that continues to inspire modern study. The pyramid stands as a reminder that even in remote and harsh environments, humans have sought to articulate identity, power, and spiritual understanding through material culture. Each stone, each chamber, each surviving inscription is a fragment of a story that connects past, present, and future, offering insight into the universality of human aspiration. Even now, as the sun dips low over the desert horizon, casting a golden glow over the pyramids, the tomb resonates with a quiet, enduring presence. Perhaps it witnessed processions, offerings, and ceremonies long ago, serving as both spiritual center and marker of communal memory. Perhaps it has stood, untouched for centuries, a sentinel in the shifting sands, patiently holding the story of a king whose life ended, but whose monument persisted. Its silent form invites reflection on the nature of time, memory, and human endeavor, a meditation on the ways in which we seek to leave traces of ourselves in the world. The pyramid tomb of Meroe, as it stands today, continues to inspire imagination, scholarship, and reverence. Its form, its craftsmanship, and its historical context speak to a civilization that valued artistry, spirituality, and continuity. The tomb outlived its king, not merely as a structure, but as a repository of human meaning, preserving the narratives, aspirations, and rituals of a people whose voices echo faintly across centuries. Its presence encourages contemplation of mortality, creativity, and the enduring human impulse to shape legacy in stone, leaving a permanent mark upon an impermanent world. The stone that taught the stars. In the quiet reaches of ancient China, where the rolling hills meet wide, open skies, there exists a stone that speaks not in words, but in the delicate language of stars. It is a carved star map, etched with painstaking care during the Han Dynasty, a civilization that looked to the heavens for guidance, understanding, and the rhythm of life itself. The stone is not grand in size, yet it carries a weight far beyond its material presence, embodying a bridge between human curiosity and the infinite cosmos above. To encounter it is to step into a dialogue with time, the universe, and the meticulous minds that first traced its celestial forms. The surface of the stone is worn but precise, each engraving representing a star, constellation, or celestial phenomenon, known to astronomers of the era. From a distance, the carvings may seem chaotic, a tangled network of points and lines, but closer inspection reveals a methodical arrangement, an ancient attempt to impose order upon the sky. The Han astronomers were not content merely to observe. They sought to record, predict, and interpret the heavens, translating ephemeral light into enduring stone. In doing so, they created more than a map. They created a tool, a symbol, and a testament to human observation. The craftsmanship of the stone reflects not only technical skill but a profound understanding of both the terrestrial and the celestial. Its surface, smoothed and prepared for carving, demonstrates the patient labor of artisans who knew that accuracy mattered. Each star's position was carefully measured, each line drawn to convey relationships between constellations, seasonal cycles, and the paths of celestial bodies that governed everything from agriculture to ritual. The stone served as both scientific instrument and spiritual guide, a reminder that the heavens were not distant abstractions but active participants in the lives of those below. Han Dynasty astronomers viewed the sky as a mirror of the empire, believing that celestial movements reflected the balance and order of human governance. Emperors relied on astrologers to interpret omens, predict seasonal changes, and advise on matters of state, and the star map would have been central to these practices. It is likely that this stone was used in conjunction with other instruments, armillary spheres, sighting tools, and carefully kept observations to chart patterns and anticipate celestial events. Each mark on its surface represents both an empirical observation and a layer of philosophical meaning, a fusion of knowledge, ritual, and authority. The stone's carvings include familiar constellations as well as those unique to the Han worldview. Dragons, tigers, and other symbolic creatures emerge from the intersections of lines, integrating myth and cosmology into precise astronomical recording. The careful balance of artistic expression and scientific notation is apparent in every groove, a reminder that in this era, the distinction between science and art was fluid. Each depiction, each alignment, is a meditation on the cosmos and humanity's place within it, a reflection of both curiosity and reverence. Over the centuries, the stone endured storms, floods, and human intervention, yet its surface remains a remarkably faithful record of Han celestial knowledge. The patina of age adds a subtle depth, shadows gathering in carved grooves, highlighting the intricate network of stars when sunlight or torchlight falls across it. Scholars who encounter the stone today are struck by its dual nature. simultaneously a practical tool for measurement and a profound statement of human imagination and aspiration. The hands that created it were meticulous, guided by both observation and philosophical purpose, aware that they were capturing a fleeting pattern of the universe in enduring stone. One can imagine the astronomers who worked with this stone. Seated under the open sky at night, they would compare the engraved stars to those they observed with the naked eye, or through early sighting instruments. They traced lines, made calculations, and recorded the movements of celestial bodies, knowing that accuracy could have profound consequences for agriculture, navigation, and the spiritual life of the empire. Their work was painstaking, requiring patience, concentration, and a deep understanding of the natural rhythms of the heavens. The stone served as both reference and reminder of the cosmos's predictability and complexity, offering reassurance that the patterns above could guide human action below. The practical applications of the stone were vast. Farmers might consult the star map to determine planting and harvest times, ensuring that crops thrived in harmony with the seasons. Military leaders could use celestial markers to plan campaigns or navigate difficult terrain. Priests and ritual specialists interpreted alignments as signs from the heavens, dictating ceremonies that sought to maintain cosmic and earthly balance. Every carved line, every carefully measured point, contributed to a comprehensive system that linked human life to the vastness of the sky, embedding astronomy deeply into the social, political, and spiritual fabric of Han China. Yet the stone's significance extends beyond its immediate utility. It embodies a human desire to understand, to impose order upon what might otherwise seem incomprehensible. It reflects the recognition that, although the stars are distant and eternal, they are also predictable, interpretable, and meaningful. The stone becomes a meditation on time itself, bridging human generations, the astronomers of the Han dynasty, the rulers who relied on their insights, and modern observers who trace the same grooves to reconnect with the past. In this sense, it is both artifact and narrative, a story of curiosity, intellect, and reverence captured in enduring stone. Walking along the grooves, one becomes aware of the tactile quality of the engravings, the depth of each line, the careful spacing of points, and the subtle variations in carving technique convey the labor and skill of its creators. There is rhythm in the arrangement, a deliberate cadence that reflects both observational accuracy and aesthetic sensibility. In sunlight, shadows shift across the carvings, animating the stars in subtle ways, while under torchlight, the patterns take on a more intimate, mysterious character. The stone is not static. It interacts with its environment, responding to light, shadow, and the presence of observers, reinforcing its role as a living interface between human perception and celestial reality. The stone also encourages reflection on the philosophical worldview of the Han dynasty. Heaven and earth were intimately connected. Celestial events were interpreted as reflections of human activity, and humans in turn sought to align their actions with cosmic order. The star map embodies this interplay, translating vast, unknowable distances into a comprehensible framework. It is a manifestation of an understanding that knowledge, observation, and ritual are intertwined, and that the careful recording of the heavens could shape life on earth. The stone is at once scientific instrument, philosophical treatise, and spiritual guide, an object that challenges modern notions of categorical separation between disciplines. As centuries passed, the stone moved from practical utility to historical treasure. Scholars, archaeologists, and astronomers have studied its markings, decoding patterns, reconstructing constellations, and uncovering insights into Han astronomical methods. Each investigation reveals new layers of meaning, methods of observation, symbolic interpretations, and evidence of cultural transmission. It stands as a bridge between eras, connecting the ingenuity of ancient hands with the analytical rigor of contemporary study. Modern observers are struck not only by its precision, but by the vision that led to its creation, the capacity to translate the infinite into the finite, to make the heavens legible in a material form. Imagining the nights when the stone was first used brings the past into vivid relief. Perhaps the astronomers sat on terraces under a canopy of stars, measuring angles, consulting other records, and consulting one another. The sky would have been darker than any modern observer experiences, revealing the Milky Way in unbroken brilliance. The stone then was both guide and record, capturing the positions of stars with meticulous care, while reminding its users of their small yet significant place in the cosmic order. Each marking was an act of observation and interpretation, linking human curiosity to the enduring rhythms of the universe. The stone also reminds us of the humility inherent in observation. Despite the precision of its carvings, it acknowledges limits, slight deviations, variations due to erosion, and the passage of centuries all serve as subtle reminders of the interplay between human intention and natural processes. In this sense, the artifact is not merely a technical achievement, It is a meditation on patience, persistence, and the willingness to engage deeply with the natural world. Its enduring presence encourages reflection on the nature of knowledge, provisional, precise, and yet always connected to the broader mysteries of existence. The symbolic resonance of the star map extends beyond technical or practical concerns. Stars have guided human imagination for millennia, representing constancy, mystery, and possibility. The stone embodies this duality. It is both concrete, in its measured lines and carved forms, and abstract, in the ideas, myths, and philosophical principles it conveys. It invites contemplation of cycles, of order emerging from apparent chaos, and of the enduring quest to understand the vast, seemingly infinite universe. It is a portal to reflection, inviting observers to consider their place within the cosmos and the continuity of human endeavor across time and space. The stone also tells a story of cultural connection. Han astronomers were influenced by earlier traditions and in turn influenced later civilizations. Knowledge recorded in stone could be transmitted across generations, inspiring methods of observation, calculation, and interpretation for centuries. The carvings are not isolated expressions, they are part of a continuum, a testament to human curiosity and the collaborative, cumulative nature of scientific and philosophical inquiry. Each groove, each star, carries echoes of countless hands, minds, and eyes working together to render the cosmos intelligible. Even today, standing before the stone, one can sense its quiet authority. It commands attention not through size or ostentation, but through precision, intent, and resonance. The careful placement of each mark, the alignment of constellations, and the integration of myth and observation speak to a worldview in which knowledge, beauty, and meaning are inseparable. Observers feel a connection not only to the Han astronomers who carved it, but also to the larger sweep of human engagement with the sky. It is a reminder that the drive to observe, record, and understand is ancient, continuous, and profoundly human. Light shifts across the stone throughout the day, emphasizing different features, revealing hidden depths, and animating the carvings in subtle ways. Shadows traced along grooves evoke movement among the stars, reminding the observer that the sky itself is dynamic, constantly changing, yet predictable enough to be mapped and understood. The stone thus mediates between permanence and impermanence, between the fixed form of human labor and the ceaseless motion of the heavens. It is a meditation on temporality, demonstrating how human effort can capture fleeting phenomena, preserving knowledge and insight for generations to come. The enduring appeal of the stone also lies in its capacity to inspire wonder. Its carvings are a visual poem, a statement of the human desire to comprehend, categorize, and relate to forces far greater than ourselves. Observers are drawn not only to its technical achievements, but also to its capacity to evoke reflection, curiosity, and awe. It embodies the intersection of observation, imagination, and philosophy, reminding modern viewers that scientific inquiry and spiritual contemplation are deeply intertwined. In contemplating the star map today, it is impossible to separate its material presence from the intellectual and emotional labor invested in it. The stone is simultaneously artifact, instrument, and symbol. It encapsulates the rigorous observation of celestial patterns, the symbolic resonance of myth and philosophy, and the enduring human aspiration to bridge the finite and the infinite. Through its grooves, one hears whispers of Han astronomers, their hands steady, their eyes keen, translating ephemeral light into eternal form. Across centuries, the stone has outlasted empires, weathered natural forces, and survived human neglect. Its carvings, though worn, continue to communicate, offering a window into the ancient mind and the cosmos it sought to interpret. Each star, each line, carries a story of meticulous care. The artifact is a testament to the enduring human pursuit of knowledge, the power of observation, and the desire to leave a mark upon the vast, unending sky. To study it is to enter a dialogue with the past and the universe, to trace the rhythms of ancient life, and to witness the synthesis of art, science, and philosophy. The stone teaches patience, precision, and attentiveness. It reminds observers that the cosmos, vast and inscrutable, can be understood in part through careful observation, rigorous recording, and a deep respect for patterns, relationships, and cycles. It stands as a monument to curiosity, bridging generations and connecting humanity to the silent, shimmering heavens. Even now, as the sun sets and the desert winds whisper across distant hills, the stone seems to shimmer faintly, a silent guide and companion to those who seek knowledge, contemplation, or inspiration. Its carvings endure, a material testament to the power of observation, the elegance of order, and the profound human impulse to reach beyond ourselves. The stone that taught the stars is not merely a relic, it is a story carved in enduring form, inviting us to look upward, reflect, and remember the ingenuity and wonder of those who first traced its celestial forms. The gate that faced no city. In the arid expanse of northern Jordan, where the wind sculpts the sands and the sun casts long shadows over the horizon, stands a stone gate. It is an enigmatic threshold, known as the Gate That Faced No City, situated in the ancient settlement of al-Jamal. Unlike conventional gates that open onto bustling streets or fortified walls, this gate opens only to the open desert, an expanse of silence and shifting sands. Its purpose has long eluded historians and archaeologists, and it holds a quiet, haunting presence, a relic of human intent whose meaning has been lost to time. The gate itself is monumental, carved from large blocks of local stone, weathered by centuries of sun, wind, and occasional rainfall. Each stone bears marks of human labor, chisel traces, subtle notches, and the faint fingerprints of hands that once guided the blocks into place. Despite its isolation, there is a symmetry to its construction, a deliberate arrangement that conveys both stability and intention. The lintel, though eroded, still bears the weight of the structure with quiet authority, a testament to the ingenuity of the builders. Walking near it, one feels the careful thought that went into every aspect: the height, the width, the alignment with distant landmarks on the horizon. The origin of the gate is tied to al-Jamal, a settlement whose history stretches back over 2 millennia. It flourished under the Romans and later the Byzantine Empire, a waypoint for travelers, traders, and pilgrims. Ruins of houses, churches, and water cisterns surround the area, yet none seem to connect directly to this gate. The absence of an adjacent city, or even walls, gives it an almost ritualistic quality. Was it a symbolic threshold, marking a spiritual or ceremonial space, or did it serve a practical purpose, now obscured by time? The uncertainty of its function adds to the sense of mystery, inviting reflection and speculation. Approaching the gate, one notices the subtle alignment of its stones with the natural landscape. The gate does not face random directions. Its axis appears carefully chosen, possibly aligned with distant hills, seasonal sunrises, or even ancient trade routes. Ancient builders often incorporated celestial or geographic markers into construction, linking human-made structures to the rhythms of the earth and sky. The gate may have served as a guidepost for travelers crossing the arid expanses, a silent marker pointing toward unseen destinations. Yet without contemporary records, its purpose remains an open question, a puzzle that bridges the ancient and the unknown. The surrounding terrain enhances the gate's enigmatic aura. Sands shift endlessly, eroding small gullies and revealing stones beneath, while sparse vegetation clings stubbornly to life. At dawn and dusk, the gate casts elongated shadows across the desert floor, transforming it into a silhouette of intent and mystery. The wind whispers through the open space it guards, creating a sound that is at once haunting and meditative, as if the desert itself acknowledges the gate's presence and purpose. Observing it, one is reminded that human construction can endure, even when context and meaning have been swallowed by time. There is a tactile quality to the stone. Running a hand along its surface, one feels the grooves carved by ancient tools and the smoothness earned through centuries of exposure to the elements. Each imperfection tells a story. The slight chipping where a stone may have been adjusted, the discoloration from years of sun and sand, the faint lichen that has slowly colonized its surface. These marks, though subtle, imbue the gate with a presence that is both physical and temporal, a silent witness to the passage of centuries and the lives that once moved nearby. Historians have speculated on the gate's function. Some suggest it may have been a ceremonial entrance, a symbolic marker of transition between inhabited spaces and the vast unknown of the desert. Others propose it was a checkpoint or milestone along a trade route, designed to orient travelers who relied on stone markers in a landscape where natural features could be misleading. Yet another theory considers the gate as a territorial or religious boundary, demarcating sacred or significant areas. Each hypothesis reflects the interplay of practicality, belief, and human intent, illustrating how a single structure can embody multiple layers of meaning. Imagining the gate in its original context, one envisions a bustling settlement in its prime. Traders, herders, and pilgrims would have moved through the region, carrying goods, ideas, and stories. Though the gate now opens to emptiness, it may once have been part of a carefully planned path, a marker along a route whose other elements have long since vanished. Perhaps it framed the rising sun on a particular day, signaling seasonal events, or served as a visual anchor in the otherwise uniform landscape. Its isolation, paradoxically, enhances its impact, forcing the observer to focus entirely on the gate itself and the intentions behind its creation. The construction techniques used to build the gate speak to the sophistication of ancient craftsmanship. Each stone was quarried, shaped, and positioned with precision, reflecting knowledge of balance, weight distribution, and structural integrity. The alignment of the gate suggests that the builders possessed a nuanced understanding of geometry and orientation, skills that would have been honed through generations of practical experience and empirical observation. Even in its ruined state, the gate conveys a sense of mastery over material and space. a quiet assertion of human capability against the vast backdrop of the desert. Standing before the gate at twilight, one senses a dialogue between past and present. The desert winds carry faint echoes of footsteps long vanished, of conversations, rituals, and moments of daily life. Shadows stretch across the sand, merging with the silhouette of the gate, creating a scene that is both serene and uncanny. It is a space that encourages contemplation, where the viewer can reflect on the impermanence of human endeavor, the endurance of stone, and the mysteries that survive long after their makers have disappeared. The gate's isolation also encourages reflection on human perception of thresholds and boundaries. Gates are usually associated with passage, entry and exit, protection and transition. Yet this gate faces no city, no wall, no enclosed courtyard. It challenges the conventional understanding of architectural purpose, prompting questions about the symbolic or abstract meanings humans attach to built forms. Perhaps it served as a reminder that life is framed by more than physical spaces. Thresholds may exist in thought, ritual, or experience as much as in stone. The gate's enduring presence is a meditation on intention, mystery, and the unseen narratives that define human history. Exploring the gate from different angles reveals further subtleties. From one perspective, it frames distant mountains, creating a visual dialogue between stone and landscape. From another, it aligns with seasonal light, catching the sun at dawn or dusk in a way that accentuates its form. Such considerations imply that the builders engaged with both environmental observation and aesthetic sensibility, blending practical alignment with visual impact. The gate becomes a dynamic object, changing character as the light shifts, the wind moves, and the observer circles its form, a testament to the sophisticated interaction between human design and natural forces. The surrounding ruins of al-Jamal add to the gate's enigmatic presence. Walls, towers, and cisterns hint at a once thriving settlement, yet none directly connect to the gate itself. This spatial ambiguity encourages speculation. Was the gate part of a ceremonial entrance removed from ordinary life, or a functional structure whose context has been lost? Archaeologists have noted traces of nearby pathways and foundations, suggesting that the gate may have been integrated into a larger urban plan. Yet the absence of definitive connections reinforces its aura of mystery, a structure that simultaneously invites and resists interpretation. The gate also embodies a narrative of endurance. Through centuries of natural erosion, human activity, and shifting sands, it has survived as a silent sentinel. Its stones, though weathered, retain structural integrity, a testament to both material choice and construction skill. It invites reflection on the passage of time, the fragility of human plans, and the persistence of certain forms of human expression. In this way, the gate that faced no city functions as both monument and meditation, a physical object that embodies broader ideas about impermanence, intention, and continuity. There is an almost meditative quality to observing the gate. One may imagine the labor of the workers, the careful placement of each block, and the coordination required to erect such a structure without modern tools. The repetition of gestures, the shared knowledge of measurement and placement, and the understanding of the landscape all converge in a single architectural act. The gate is a crystallization of collective effort and ingenuity, a statement that even in harsh environments, humans sought to create order, meaning, and permanence. The desert itself interacts with the gate in subtle ways. Sands accumulate at its base, sometimes covering portions of the lower stones, then shift with winds to reveal them once more. Light and shadow dance across the surfaces, accentuating textures, grooves, and imperfections. In certain seasons, the gate may frame a distant sunrise or sunset, casting its shadow in alignment with natural markers. These interactions reinforce the notion that the gate was conceived not as an isolated object but as part of a dialogue with the landscape, a structure meant to exist in relation to its surroundings and the cycles of nature. The silence surrounding the gate amplifies its presence. Unlike a city gate that hums with activity, this gate exists in stillness. Observers are confronted not with human voices, but with wind, birds, and the subtle sound of shifting sands. This quiet creates space for reflection, allowing one to ponder the choices of those who built it and the world they inhabited. It encourages imagination, inviting speculation about rituals, journeys, or intentions that may have motivated its construction. In silence, the gate speaks, its message conveyed through form, alignment, and the enduring weight of stone. One may also consider the gate in symbolic terms. Gates are thresholds, and thresholds signify change, passage, or transformation. By facing no city, this gate may represent a threshold of a different kind, transition from one state of being to another, the boundary between the known and unknown, or the liminal space where human and natural worlds intersect. Its enduring presence suggests that such symbolic thresholds were as significant to ancient builders as practical entryways, emphasizing the interplay of function, meaning, and perception in architectural forms. The gate's craftsmanship hints at the broader cultural context of al-Jamal. The settlement thrived under Roman and Byzantine influence, incorporating architectural styles, construction techniques, and urban planning concepts from across the empire. The gate, however, retains a distinct character, suggesting local adaptation, innovation, and the integration of practical knowledge with symbolic intent. Its isolation and precision indicate that the builders were engaged in a deliberate act of creation, one that transcended mere utility to engage with ideas of presence, direction, and meaning. Even today, the gate invites contemplation. Visitors who approach it are struck by its scale, symmetry, and the mystery of its placement. It prompts questions about ancient human experience, the ways communities navigated landscapes, and the meanings they attached to structures. The gate's endurance reinforces the notion that while civilizations rise and fall, certain expressions of human intent persist, offering insight into creativity, perception, and the enduring desire to leave a mark on the world. Standing before the gate, under the evening sky, with the horizon fading to amber and violet, one senses the convergence of time, space, and human endeavor. The desert stretches endlessly, yet the gate commands attention, asserting its presence against the vastness of nature. It is a silent teacher, inviting reflection on human ingenuity, the impermanence of settlements, and the mysteries that remain when context is lost. Observing it is both an aesthetic and intellectual experience, a moment to connect with a past civilization through stone, shadow, and space. The gate that faced no city is not merely a relic, it is a meditation on purpose, mystery, and endurance. Its stones encapsulate the labor, knowledge, and intention of its creators, while its isolation amplifies the questions it poses. Through wind, light, and time, it continues to interact with those who encounter it, offering a sense of connection to the past and a prompt for contemplation in the present. It is a structure that challenges understanding, invites imagination, and stands as a quiet monument to human engagement with landscape, space, and the unknown. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history's most mysterious artifacts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to Unearthed Secrets for more fascinating discoveries. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. Until next time, keep exploring the secrets of our past.